We're here in Wrightsville, Pennsylvania today. Hi guys, how you doing? Brett for TopoRanger. This is Kreutz Creek, or Kreutz Creek. I'm not exactly sure on the pronunciation. This is the same creek that I was walking along in a previous episode called Kreutz Creek Stomp, and I'll put the link right up there. Just off to the, behind me here, off to the south, is a large quarry, and I can hear it in the background, and the dust up there on the road, the dust is flying off. Came across there, came down here. Now I'm just curious as to what's going on. I see some good outcrops, and this being a somewhat of an industrial area, I think really the only big industry right here is the quarry. I'm thinking there might be some cool artifacts, layers of history along the banks of the creek. As often happens, you can really see different phases of development sometimes in the ruins. And also, I've never been, you know, as many times as I've been down to Kreutz Creek up there, I've never been to where this big creek flows into the Susquehanna, and it's right around the corner here. This is the main drain for the York Valley from about Pelham east. It runs on the south side of the valley. But as you can see, it's a pretty big creek. So let's head downstream and see what we can find. We're about 100 feet downstream now, and what I can see from up there is definitely something going on here. Let me get into the water a little bit. Here there seems to be, it looks like a stone foundation of something pretty old right there. And then right there you can see there's trees have grown into it. Seems to end right about there. So it's from there the whole way down to there. Looks like a big foundation, probably an old mill or who knows what, but I bet you there's a lot of probably a lot of clues right down in here, in this area here. There's some concrete. A lot of this stuff looks more newish. Actually, no, you know what? I think the foundation goes the whole way to there, and they just filled this in. You can see this is all a lot of concrete blocks and whatnot. That's all fill, but this is a foundation of something big and old. I would just walk right across, but the water is a little bit too high. I can see a beam there, and there's big blocks here. This would be a good place for the drone. I can't really get across though. Creek chubber out. Yeah, I can't go very far before I hit deep water. And it's pretty deep. I'd say it's good 4 or 5 feet out there. So some type of long something there. It looks almost white. Now I can kind of see a little bit of curvature there in that wall there. It's almost like a little tube, and the rest of it's been washed away. So I don't know what that is. And then over here, it looks like a big chunk of the old masonry wall, which was probably right there, fell down. Let's head up this way. Check this out. It's actually a big old sycamore? I mean, I call everything a sycamore, but I think this is a sycamore. Anyway, it's got a killer root system. Check this out. It's got these interesting root systems that are kind of, looks like this used to be a bank here that's just since been eroded away. And like, it looks like the creek chub like to live down in there. You see him flitting around there? Can you see him? Let's try to get over here without falling in the creek. Made it. Now look at this here. There's a giant piece of, that's cut stone. See that? That's not a natural piece there. I wonder if this came downstream from whatever that old ruin is. Let's get up here. All right, there we go. Let's keep going here. We got some tracks. I see dog tracks, maybe coon tracks. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please do. And make sure you hit the bell for notifications. I'm on a schedule now that's not regular, but I have a lot more opportunity to get out and do stuff, so my video output should increase quite a bit coming over the next couple months. So please subscribe. I might be able to get out to one of these if the water's not too deep. Oh yeah, I got it. We got this. I got you. This looks like concrete. All right. Now, that piece is over there. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff here in the floor here. We're starting to get up. We're starting to hit slack water right about here. Lake Clark, or Clark Lake, which is what's formed by the Safe Harbor Dam. Starts to actually back up into the creek, into this creek and all the creeks here. That's why you're starting to get some pretty deep water there. I think we're almost to the confluence though. So why don't let's see if we can get to the confluence without treading on anybody's property too much. Where was I? Pretty sure we're on the Conestoga limestone at this point. Check this out. Came across something pretty interesting here. I want to get to a spot where I can see it better. It's definitely metal, and it looks like it's been underwater for quite a while. Look. Cast iron. It's got some kind of decor. I mean, the problem is the rocks and the sediment are cemented on there. It was probably buried, and then you can see it. You can see the thickness of the metal right there. It was probably buried in the creek bed for God knows how long. And then washed up during a flood. But man, I don't know the period. It looks like a piece of maybe a chair or a desk, some type of furniture, I would imagine. We're gonna head back up to the bridge and then see if we can't come down here and see the confluence, but maybe we're not. In any case, there's other stuff right here in Wrightsville that I can show you, like the old canal ruins up there by the Columbia-Wrightsville Bridge. All right, so let's go do it. Got a snake. Oh, it's going in the water. Where's he going? What is that? He's going in the water. Oh, where'd that guy go? Oh, there he goes. Look at him swim. He's, wow. He's going downstream. Look at him go, man. Wow. Can you see him right there? He's probably out of view now. Now he's swimming upstream. Oh, there he goes. Oh no, he's hitting the fast water. He's going for it. Is he gonna get swept away? You can't see him probably with this, but there he is. He's almost there. What? And he made it. That was awesome. Like hook my toes underneath the roots here to get around. Got an old iron sink here with a porcelain cover or porcelain surface. Seen better days though. It says US. All right, we're back at the bridge. Susquehanna and the Tidewater Canal. All right, we're at the waterfront in Wrightsville. Here's another historical placard. Block masonry just below the bridge. Okay, so the one in Columbia was state-owned. 1863. The river bridge had a tow path for mules. Okay, tugboats, okay. All right, here we are. Now they're doing some type of construction down here. I think I saw plans years ago. They had a big plan for a big park here, multi-million-dollar park. This is a piece of the old canal. Just on a side note, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Titanaboa, which is a while ago they found a fossil down in South America. I want to say Colombia or Venezuela, of a gigantic boa constrictor that was like 50 or 60 feet long. You know, stick around as a you know, like a manhole, and it was just like the ultimate snake. I think it lived 50 million years ago. And I was looking at this I was looking at this silt sock, and I'm thinking, you know, this silt sock is about the size approximately, I'd say, of Titanaboa, and the thickness was certainly that big, I think. So here's, the heads would have been here. So imagine this is a snake. The head would have been here, and here's its body. You know, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. This might be a little bit longer than 50 feet, but these things were huge. They were almost as big as this silt sock. Anyway, that's just a side note. There's a museum, I'm not sure where. I'll have to research. Maybe I'll put the link to that museum that has a reconstruction. They used the fossils that they found. They reconstructed this enormous snake, the biggest snake that's, you know, in the history they've ever found in terms of the fossil record, and they recreated it, you know, life size, to look, you know, imagine how it must have looked in terms of size. And it's huge. It's you can find it online, but I'll put a link to it in the description below this video. Okay, got some mallards here. They're cruising around. Okay, so anyway, like I was saying, here they go. This is a remnant of the old Susquehanna Tidewater Canal. Okay, this canal was built from 1836 to 1840. It cost $3.5 million back in 1840 money, which, you know, translate that to in today's dollars, I don't know, it would be a very large amount. And it operated, I think, up until, I want to say, almost 1900. But this is really all that's left of it in terms of the canal. This would have been a prism-shaped canal right here with the berms on the sides. Now there are some stonework remnants up here. That's what we're going to go see. Those are really the last remnants. And what they would have done is, down below where we were before at Kreutz Creek, down by the quarry, just south of there, they would have built a large dam, a low dam, a low head dam, the whole way across the river, the remnants of which still might be there. And this whole area here rose in depth. And then what they did is, right here at the top here, this is where the canal boats would come across the river. Okay, there was a canal in Columbia that was state-owned, right, according to that sign. And that canal went up that way on the other side, up by Chickies Rock, which is over there. And it created this huge pool, which basically backed up and fed into the very top of the Susquehanna Tidewater Canal, which would have been right up here, where we're going right now. And I think it was about 45 miles from here to Havre de Grace, which is in Maryland, which is where the canal ended. Total elevation change was about 233 feet. And to do that, to get over that 233 feet of change in, you know, relief, they had to build, I think, 27 or 29 locks, something like that, the whole way down the river. And if you go down this side of the river, you know, you can see the remnants of it all over. If you remember the Ouray Overlook episode, I will put a link to the Ouray Overlook episode up top there. That episode where we went down, when we finally got down to the river level, and I found that old canal. That's the same canal. That's this canal. That's just about halfway down towards Maryland. It's about halfway. It was called the Tidewater Canal in Maryland. It's called the Susquehanna Canal in Pennsylvania. And here we have what's left. And these are some of the biggest, I mean, at least in what I've seen, these are some of the best preserved remnants of the canal there are. And what I like about this is that you can see right here, you have 1840 construction. And then right, you peek over the top, you have the Wrightsville Columbia Bridge, the Veterans Memorial Bridge, I believe it's also called. And that was completed in 1930. So 1840, 1930, 90 years separates the construction of these two. Now, obviously that probably costs a lot more because it's much bigger. That's a really cool bridge in and of itself. So, and there's a term for the big pool that feeds into a canal. They would create what are called feeder dams along the way when they needed a little bit more water to go in there, and then they would have little spots where they could drain off water. I mean, the canals were a really interesting, just fascinating subject in and of themselves. But here's the big ruins, and you can see it's really good quality work, you know. And they're not gonna, I don't think they're gonna get rid of this. This might actually be incorporated into the park plan, because these are historical ruins. And you have this curving wall here, right? So I would have been, the water level would have been, I think, around 6 feet. The canals were about 6 feet deep. So this might have been a little bit deeper here. Water level is probably like here, right? So the canal boats would come up here, right? And there'd be a big pool here where they could kind of jostle, and they could probably park here, park there. Then they could come over. Then they would go over, and this is really cool, because this is where it all ties in. This is where the history all ties in. So we're under the Veterans Memorial. Okay, this is where it starts or ends, depending on where you're coming from. And then here, up until 1863, there was a mile-long covered bridge starting right about here, right about there. And you got you got all these piers. See these piers here? 1, 2, 3. Those are what's left of that mile-long covered bridge, which was in existence until 1863. The canal boats would come up here, they'd hook onto a mule, and the mule had its own lane. The mule actually had its own little lane inside the covered bridge, and the mule would pull the canal boats across there, and then over there in Columbia they'd pick it up again and then head, either and probably head upriver. But what happened in 1863 is the Civil War. There was a little skirmish here in Wrightsville between some Union militia, which I think were stationed over in Columbia, and about one regiment, about 2,000 Confederates walked up from York, came here, had a little skirmish, and the militia, they tried to blow up the bridge. They had put charges in the bridge at some point along it. They tried to blow it, didn't work, so they decided to burn the sucker down. They burned the sucker down, and it burned. I think it took about 6 hours, and it was all wooden construction, and this thing just burned, and the timbers fell into the river. It must have been an amazing sight. Some of the embers actually flew up, landed in Wrightsville, and started a couple house fires, I think. And funny enough, once the Confederates realized, they weren't going to be able to get across this bridge and then head up to Harrisburg, they actually helped the people of Wrightsville with a bucket brigade to put out these fires that were started by the bridge. But they couldn't do what they wanted. They couldn't get across to Columbia, because they wanted to go to Columbia and then go up the river to Harrisburg, and I don't know, I guess they wanted to burn Harrisburg to the ground or whatever. But they couldn't do that because they burned the bridge. But canal boats would come this way, down to Maryland, up from Maryland and the Chesapeake Bay, up here, across to Columbia. I mean, tons of history. I want to get out here on my kayak this summer and explore some of these piers right here. It's really just fascinating history. And there was one, I want to say there was one casualty in that little skirmish here, 1863. And it was 2 days before Gettysburg, because what happened is the Confederates that were here After they finished here, they turned around, they hiked right back to York, hiked right back to Gettysburg, and that was the Battle of Gettysburg. One Confederate soldier, I think it was Confederate soldier, was killed. Apparently, I want to say he was decapitated by a cannonball up on the hill. And there is a memorial. There's a placard on the side of the road dedicated to him. And I think it just cannonball just hit him right in the head and just took off his head. But I think he was the only one who died. It wasn't much of a battle, or it wasn't a battle, it was more of a skirmish. So that gives you a little bit of history, lesson here. With the canals and everything like that. Alright guys, that's going to wrap it up for this episode of TopoRanger. Make sure you hit subscribe and hit the bell for notifications so you get notified whenever I put out a new video. Like I said before, the amount of videos I'm going to be able to put out now should increase significantly over the coming months. I'm glad we got a chance to check out some of the sights and sounds here in Wrightsville, Pennsylvania. It's a river town, Wrightsville, Pennsylvania, right across the river from Columbia. And we got a little history lesson in the canals, a little Civil War. And I found some ruins over there, and that snake, right? We caught that snake going across the creek, which is really cool. I can't wait to get home and look at that footage, right? As always, I love having you along. This is Brett for TopoRanger, signing out.